Let's summarize the plot of The Fall of the House of Usher, a quintessential haunted house story by the legendary Edgar Allan Poe. In the introduction, the story starts on a cold autumn day with the unnamed narrator arriving at the House of Usher, which is downright scary, which looks both decaying and intact at both times. He's coming to visit his childhood friend Roderick, who he has lost contact with, but who has urged him to visit. During the rising action, the narrator explains how the Usher family and their mansion had become symbolically intertwined. Inside the house that is filled with strange decorations, instruments, and books, Roderick is pale and nervous, alternating between being sullen and lively, and he explains that a condition that runs in his family makes his senses acute. And his twin sister Madeline is sick with an illness no doctor can explain, and she moves in the room without seeming to notice the narrator, which makes him afraid. Madeline soon dies, and the narrator helps Roderick move her casket to the house vault. Roderick's illness worsens after Madeline's death. One night, the narrator, starting to lose his mind, laying in the bed in the dark listening to strange sounds, Roderick burst into his room, opening the window to the sounds of the storm. The narrator tries to calm Roderick down by reading a book to him, but soon the sounds described in the book are parallel to the sounds coming from the house. At the climax, Roderick says that they have buried his sister Madeline alive, and the sounds they've been hearing is her trying to break her way out of the coffin in the vault. As he says this, Madeline Usher is standing there covered in blood. Then she proceeds to fall over on her brother, and they both die. Fleeing the nightmarish house, the narrator seems to notice a fissure through the house, which had a blood red moon shining through it. Then the house annihilates into many pieces. Now, let's discuss the characters of the Fall of the House of Usher. We have Madeline Usher, who barely makes an appearance in the story only as Roderick's twin and double and the embodiment of illness. Roderick Usher, he's an educated man, he's an avid reader, plays guitar, and has many talents. But at the end of the story, none of these talents helped him as he died with his twin sister, Madeline Usher. The narrator. The narrator barely tells us anything about him. His name, not even what he looks like. But his thoughts and actions do speak a lot about him. Now, by the House of Usher, I don't mean the actual people of the House of Usher. I mean the physical House of Usher. Now, the actual living people of the House of Usher have been intertwined with the physical House of Usher. What I mean by that is, from each generation, the house gets more gloomy and dark, like the family itself. The house is the House of Usher, and the House of Usher is the House of Usher. Now, the weather plays a major role in the fall of the House of Usher. It sets the mood and the tone that the author wanted us to imagine and picture in our heads. The theme. The theme is probably the most important part of the story. The theme is what you concluded from the story, what you learned. And the Fall of the House of Usher has many themes, but I'm going to discuss sanity versus insanity. That's a really important theme because it makes us wonder if all of this is just inside the narrator's head. Is it real? Is it fake? We'll never know.